Welcome back for the second last session of the day, which is hosted by Mumbai chapter. So moving further with the session talk hosted by Mumbai chapter. Before we commence the session talk, I would like to thank our founding sponsor, Innovation Roots. It is a leading consulting and training service provider, helping organizations to achieve business agility and beyond. It is one of the leaders and pioneers of niche publishing services and is also well known for content collaboration with global thought leaders, authors, and creators. We are also very thankful to Gile, which is a product offering from Tata Consultancy Services Limited. It is a purely cloud-based enterprise agile planning tool along with DevOps capabilities. Enterprises can use Gile to adopt agile practices or scale across multiple Scrum and Kanban teams using enterprise scaling frameworks such as SAFe, Disciplined Agile, Less and More. You can also try out Gile for free for up to 20 users for 1 year by signing up at gile.io. You can also reach out to us for any inquiries or for exclusive product demo. Request everybody to check out the Gile page on agilenetworkindia.com for more information. So moving further, I would request Amog, Abhijit, and Ajay to take over the conversation from here. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I invite Amog Suktankar to start this session on personal agility for self-transformation. Amog Suktankar.
Thanks, Ajay. So good afternoon, everyone. So I hope everyone can see my screen.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining on Saturday afternoon, which is very sunny here in Mumbai. Along with me, Abhijit is also there, who will be also co-chairing with me with the personal agility area. This is basically my personal bio. I am basically PMP, ITIL V3, Lean Six Sigma Green Belt, also Scale Agile Framework Certified Scrum Master, Product Owner, Product Manager, also Kanban Management Professional. I do have more than 20 plus years of work experience in IT. I have played role as a capacity as a project manager, program manager, offshore release engineer, and also agile coach. And I do hands-on agile coaching experience, managing team, and also Scrum Master for creating Kanban boards and tracking the sprints and produce the burn down chart and velocity, etc. Okay, so the topic of today's is personal agility. So what do you mean by personal agility? So personal agility is basically what in agility? Agility is kind of nimbleness. So we normally think a lot more on the project agility. We discuss a lot of Scrum. We discuss a lot about the project. So I myself have done a lot of Scrum trainings. So we always think of the project agility, how we'll able to manage the customer change requirement in agile fashion. But have we ever thought how we himself as a one individual is personal agile enough to tackle whatever is happening in his or her day-to-day life? So personal agility is how you are able to manage our day-to-day any surprises which we get, how we'll able to manage your day-to-day activities. So it talks about more about the dynamic capabilities and also to respond to the situation in a more timely, innovative, and sustainable way. Why it is sustainable way? Because see, basically this agile personal agility is basically definitely have some connection to the Scrum. Why? Because Scrum is also based about the sustainable pace we always talk about. Like, so we also human being also needs to have a personality, keeping in mind we should have a sustainable pace so that we will have a stable life and we should be able to enjoy our day-to-day activities along with the what are the activities which are really matter to us, what are the activities which are not important to us. We should be able to categorize those and we should be able to manage our day-to-day activities. I will share some of my learnings along with my son's learning in my slides. Okay, so what is second point which I can think of? We should be open-minded to change, because normally we are working in a lot of uncertainty, right? We do have a lot of volatile environment. This pandemic has created a lot of turmoil in each and every lives, including the entire economy. So we should be always open that something will happen and that we should be able to, we may get diverted from your goal, but again we need to think what is really important. If I need to go, say if I'm going from A to B destination, and while going to B destination, we may face a lot of challenges. While if I'm going to the office, sometimes my tire get puncture, or if my GPS has been lost, so I may get diverted to another location. But again, I need to ask the question: am I going to the right direction? So that is where we need to think, and we need to explore different approaches. That is what here I'm talking about. If am I going to my right direction? If not, then I need to ask the question why. Am I going in right direction? If not, what corrective action I should take, so that I should able to tackle the volatility, uncertainty, and complexity. Okay, so normally any human being, right, in pandemic has faced lot of challenges, right? Such as I was not able to keep a lack of balance between my professional and personal life, because everybody is working from home from last more than a year now. Since March 2020 we are in lockdown situation, and everybody is spending more amount of time in on office work, and also we are not able to spend enough amount of time. So in lockdown, I was so many years, I need to learn yoga. I was thinking, but I was not able to give enough time for, learning yoga. And I hope everybody is watching India TV every day 8 a.m. I normally watch where Swami Ramdev is teaching yoga. So I want to do for so many years, but I didn't get time. So I was not able to give enough time to my health, which I believe health is a wealth for me. Okay, so where I was not able to give enough time on my yoga activities, or where I should keep my body fit, healthy. Also, as I was doing a lot of activities parallel, so I was not able to do a lot of prioritization properly, and it was ultimately leading to long to-do list, and which was creating a lot of problem, and I was not able to do proper prioritization. And definitely it was long to-do list, so I was not able to complete a lot of my activities also. So these were the challenges what I was facing, and then I was thinking what step I should take, so my this problem will get solved. uh, so I'm being very open and transparent that I have not become master, but I am trying to learn every day, day by day, what are the activities so every day when I'm spending my time, I normally go and check is what are the activities which I've spent, are those activities which are really important, not important, which are the most urgent, not urgent, or some these are activities where I should have not spent that much time. So all those items I normally consider before, at the end of the day, and also at the end of the week. Normally it's kind of mini retrospective, or we should do it. So there are some tools, such as priority maps and breadcrumb trails. So we should always ask one powerful question as an agile coach, whose main responsibility to ask very powerful question. So what really matters is a very powerful question. So normally we as a human individual do a lot of activities which not that much important to us, but we are spending a lot of amount of time. So what is very important that every human being to ask what really matters for me. So for me, what really matters is my family, my personal life, my career. I should have some enough time to spend to my time for yoga. I'm very religious person, so I'm ensuring that I should get at least half an hour for my chanting and doing day-to-day religious activity. So every day you should spend. So these are the at least 5 or 6 items which are very very important to me, where I should spend time, and on those activities I should do what are the list of activities which I'm planning to do this week, what are the list of activity which I did in last week, and what are the forces in your life. So there may be different forces in your life, like, so there has to be a motivation to do something, so that force where will keep energy, so that our ultimate goal can be achieved. And always remember, this is also another very powerful question. Change WRM means, so assume today I am going to A to B direction, and because of direction I got lost, whatsoever the reason may be. So again I need to go to my direction. So I need to ask another powerful question that I can go and ask anytime, change my what really matters, because I being the owner or creator of my life, so I should ask my question, okay, am I going in the right direction? If my heart says yes, I should do that particular action on that particular moment, and I should again try to go to my destination. Okay, breadcrumb trails is kind of, it will give us the kind of, basically the list of activities what we have done in the past. Okay, so today I am in the week of February last, so I should always have a breadcrumb trails. Okay, week number 1 of February, what I did, week 2, what are the list of activities I have done, and last week number 3. Okay, so there is a tool called Trello available where you can see I have created my small board where you can see that my family is there, my health is there, my extracurricular activities, and these are the activities which I'm planning to do. These are the activities which I have completed, and this is kind of Trello board. So there is no mandatory that we should do all these activity in a board. We can create a simple piece of pen and paper. That also you can do it. I will be sharing some of my son's learning also, how he's doing his day-to-day activities, what really matters to him, what is really important for him to his daily day-to-day activities. So I'll be sharing his, when I was doing this activity, I discussed with my son and I told him, this is the way I'm doing. So I asked him, do you want to implement in that way? So he has started creating on his whiteboard small, and also he has implemented his own beautiful way, which I have added in my slide, which was not in my idea, by the way. This was his, what really matters to him, and he has added. Okay, so if you can see here, my son's WRM for each chapter. So he is in currently 8th standard. So he's going through the books. So when I bought first time sticky notes, when I was putting in a piece of pen and paper, so he borrowed some of from me, and he has created his kind of gist or what really matters from each chapter. I think this is chemistry, organic chemistry, you can see here. So he has created his notes from this chapter. So what he has told me, Baba, now I can go and see, I can read this particular on the last day of the exam. I do not have to go through. So that can give him a clear-cut idea what is really matters. Now, what he is doing in the same way, in using the same principles for jotting down all the maths formulas and also geometrical theorems. So he's using the same fundamentals in other areas also. So this is also one of the innovative way, and this is his life, and he is the person wants to grow his career. So he's the way, that is the way he wants to manage his day-to-day activity, which is perfectly fine and which I like. So that's the reason I thought I should discuss my son's learning to the wider audience so that they can also share their knowledge. I am not saying mandatory, but it is up to every individual perception. So this is his daily activity which he's doing. So he's every day things important to me, and so you can see here he has completed all his activity. So I feel really, so I told him, okay, whenever you are doing whenever you are planning the activities which you have completed, you should always go and do pat in your back. So always tell Baba, today I have completed all the activities. So I also feel motivated. Okay, my son is doing what are the activities. So he wants to, he's a very Harry Potter fan. So he wants to have some dedicated time for reading Harry Potter, books. Okay. So this is the same way. There is no mandatory you can use in this. You can always create a small, PPT, or you can create a small piece of pen and paper where also you can able to think which are the activities which are urgent, which are most important, and we can able to track. Okay. Also, this will give you a clear-cut idea about what are the activities. Week 1 we have completed, week 2, week 3, and week 4. This will give a clear-cut idea if you want to do a retrospect. Okay, after 5 weeks, okay, which are the activities where I have spent time? Are those activities I have completed on time? Have I spent any activity where I should have not spent the activities? So all those items will matter most. Okay, so definitely after following something, we are expecting some kind of benefits, right? So benefits are what I am trying to, after following this, what I am trying to getting the benefits are, I am able to prioritize my list of activities which really matters to me. Like in my son's case, now he knows what really matters for him while reading the very big book of any subject. So he knows, okay, I have understood the gist and he is documenting. Similarly, I am able to understand what are my priorities and which are really matters to me. And also I have started thinking in a direction which will take me towards my destination goal, and which will ultimately give the satisfaction as an individual human being. Another most important thing, because I am very much not tech savvy, I should say, I am very much important. Every individual is more thinking in investing in the wealth market, right? So I am also investing a lot of time in my share market. So sometimes I spend more time rather than I should have not spent. So normally after 8 to 8:30, India TV. I normally listen 8 to 8:30 to 9 o'clock. Z Business, but sometimes I used to spend more time. So which I should have not, because I do have every day 9:15 a meeting with my US customer in the morning. So then I have every day I used to spend, okay, how much time I have spent. Then that gives me an idea that I should spend only this much amount of time to any activity. So wherein I am categorizing my activities which are important, urgent, and non-important. So any important activity, I should spend more amount of time, which will give a more immediate, tangible or intangible benefit to me as a human being, as an individual, because I am the person who is the creator of my life to reaching to my destination, which is my ultimate goal. So as I told that I have not become master, but I am trying to use this particular activities as a guidance to move ahead to achieve my topmost priorities. And another thing is, if I got stuck up anywhere, I always go and ask, okay, is the activity currently which I'm working is really matters to me? If it is matter, if my heart says, okay, yes, this activity is very much important and where I should spend more time, I always go and work. If my heart says no, I don't, I'll not spend that much time to that particular activity. Okay, so that's it from my side. I will hand it over to Abhijit, who is my colleague, who will be also sharing his ideas about personal agility. So over
Thanks,
to Abhijit.
Amog. A lot of people. Yeah, thank you, Amog. A lot of people face challenges for health in the pandemic. Thanks for sharing your personal experiences. Hope we can implement some ideas from the same. I invite Abhijit. Abhijit.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I hope you are able to see, Amog, you are able to see my screen?
Yes, Abhijit, we can see the screen.
Okay, very good.
Yes.
So, yeah, so Amog, I think very well presented, and I really like two things in what you were saying. One was that this whole idea about what really matters to me. I think this is a big thing. No matter at what age you start, at what age you try and figure this out. This is extremely relevant notion that needs to be looked upon, and you need to have some processes to make that work for you. Thanks for that thing, and also the way you are putting a framework in place. And I think you are installing some extremely good practices in your child's mind. And I think when you start early, you land up higher and you grow faster. And I think what happens is that that's the time cognitively, which is extremely, it's like a storm in a kid's mind, which you are able to kind of put in the right direction. Anyways, coming back to my presentation, I think for me, I'm trying to make this from a point of view of what I've been trying to do in my life. I'm trying to keep it to that. Everyone, feel free. You can shoot out questions wherever you feel, there's a need. You can write those questions down in the question box. So I feel personal agility is the key for navigating change and unleashing potential within you. That would result into a personal transformation. So a little bit about me. I run a business called Sententia Interactive Services Private Limited. We are an end-to-end e-learning solutions company, and we've been helping a lot of Fortune 500 companies in setting up e-learning environment for them, making them future ready. We're doing a very interesting project with the think tank of Modi ji called Samarth Bharat, in which we are actually giving trainings and jobs and self-employment to all the people who've been displaced during COVID from bigger metropolitans into smaller villages. Somebody has moved from Bombay into Warangal, into smaller towns. We are trying to help them out. Before this, I was heading a sales function for a company called Learning Mate, an end-to-end e-learning solutions company. I was there for almost 10 years. Just 10 days before completing my 10th year, I decided to quit. And I told my boss that, I have a plan to sail on my own ship. And I started off with my own venture. The idea was to make learning real, make learning applicable, move out of cookie cutter, abstract sort of notions and concepts of learning, and make it really work for the company. So I believe L&D should be performance and development. It should really work as the core of the system. It should not be a support function in the organizations. Anyways, I hold a degree in artificial intelligence and cog science from University of New South Wales, Australia. Going forward, we are living in an age which was extremely fast, moving extremely fast with a great pace. We had internet moving into AI. We had digital transformation as the key theme. We had all sorts of disruptive business models coming alive. At the same time, COVID happens. It resets the whole thing. It sets a new norm. We have a pandemic, we have a difficult situation. And the biggest challenge within the family, within the friends, within the organizations, within the community is the trust deficit. There are uncertainties, there is complexity, is a lot of volatility in the whole thing. And we suddenly end up with less resources and a lot more people who are looking for those resources, whether it is jobs, whether it is budgets, whether it is money. We as the businesses are seeing it. You as, in your own businesses are seeing it. As an employee, you are facing it. So, as a company also, you are finding it extremely difficult to stay tuned, to stay sustained. You are doing delayering, you're kind of downsizing, all that is happening. Now, as an individual also, we are facing a lot of pressure. I mean, there's a pressure on the family side. You need to take care of so many other things which you were not bothered about. Sanitization and having a mask, or ensuring your child is not playing outside, or make sure the food is coming in the house is clean. Small things really adds up to your task list. It really adds up to the things that you were planning to do. And then the competition, and then managing distractions, and then managing depression, and having a lack of focus, and losing work-life balance. So I think all that is moving around. And I kind of frame this as a stress age. I mean, a lot of people are talking about that, but I see it from that point of view. Now, as we move forward, I want to quickly talk about what I have faced in this time. I was actually detected by COVID positive in August, and I was in hospital for 27 days. And I was really out of action for 3 months or so. And trust me, it is hell of a learning. It is a hell of a learning. What I realized, I was in Max, I had come to my parents' house, I got admitted in Dehradun. What I realized, everyone, is that, the department was started recently, and everybody was doing their best to kind of make sure that things are working, and the kitchen lights are on, the hospital is running, everything is coming in place. And I was really happy to see all that action. What I really want to emphasize is one person who I really admire, and I have kind of taken him as my role model and very close to him. This gentleman is called Dr. Kinney. He happens to be Asia's best doctor today. He is running at 73 years old and already retired. He doesn't have to come to work every day, but he was there every day in the morning, 9 o'clock. He used to come and visit us. He used to make sure that how are we, and he happens to be the best doctor in terms of pharmacology, which is the lungs doctor. And what I liked about him, he doesn't have to do that. This going one step ahead of your comfort zone and taking a bigger responsibility, taking a bigger leadership role. Today, Dr. Guleria of AIIMS Delhi actually discusses with him. It's purely because out of his own interest to solve this problem, he is going out and figuring out and really fighting it out. He's taking it as a challenge. And he told me that I'm here for a cause. I'm here, if I'm here, this should not be there. I mean, it can be either of us. And that day night, I was overwhelmed and I was about to leave from hospital. And I wrote a small, few lines for him. तुम फरिश्ते हो, फरिश्ते दरख्तों के साए से नहीं उतरते हैं, हो चिंगारी तुम, समुंदर के सीने से शोला बन के आए हो. And this is true for each one of us, तुम मिटा कर राख कर दोगे कोविड की इस मनुष्यत को, जान हाथों में लिए खुद से खड़े हो तुम खुद खुदा हो तुम. I think, you know, they are literally mini gods at that point in time. And you know, so this was one part of it. The other part of it was my own personal journey. And I realized more than the physical strength, it is the mental strength that is needed to really get that mask out and your breathing to kick in. I think, you know, so that's where I feel I came to this whole notion of neural agility. And I feel that it is extremely important for all of us as leaders to start seeing brain science and neuroscience and cog science a little more closely and try and bring it more close to our lives. Like you have Netflix, you have Amazon Prime, you have, you know, you've got so many things happening in your lives. I think we need to bring this closer to ourselves. Um, you know, very quickly, I'll explain. There are three. Our mind is composed of, this is the Truin's model of brain. A mind is composed of three parts. You've got a reptilian brain, which is the basic brain, which we have. It's like a crocodile brain. It is for basic things, which is your, you know, fight, flight, and feed, the kind of things for survival instincts. The second one is emotional brain, a social brain, which helps you engage with other people, which makes you a human being, where you take an intentional stand and you say, I like this, I dislike this. What does it feel like? That kind of a thing. It's more like a qualia. How does it feel like? What do you experience? The last part is your cortex, which is where all your thinking happens, all your willpower works, all your resilience, personal agility, your planning, your goals, your leadership, and everything is happening at that level. So very quickly, if you are doing more work with your prefrontal cortex as compared to limbic system or the reptilian brain, you would end up being a lot more, you know, agile, lot more stronger, a lot more, like we have a prime minister, or like we have, say, uh, Dhirubhai Ambani and all of these big guys who are around. They're really doing a lot of work at a very different level of consciousness. And a lot of that is being driven by prefrontal cortex. As leaders, I encourage each one of you, because we are here for a purpose and you don't live twice. So you really need to start using brain science with you and with your teams as much as you can. That will make your teams more nimble, more innovative, and more resilient. To me, you know, agile is a method, while agility is the mindset. So you have a lot of tools, methods, processes for being agile, but agility is a mindset thing. And when you say, being agile at a personal level, you're trying to say that you are nimble to receive, accept, and change depending on the situation in which you are, depending on the information that you get, depending on the responsibility that you take, depending on the environment, the way that kind of makes you or engages with you. So you are open to make those changes in your behavior. You are able to make those changes, within what you're doing. And these are very critical things at an individual level. Going forward, I just wanted to kind of share a few things, and uh, when you say agile, agile projects, require a different kind of thinking. Agile mindset needs a different kind of things. You're not doing long old mainframe kind of long programming project, which is going on and on. You need to think really fast. You need to make your team think really fast. You need to change with your customers. So the thought patterns have to change, the behaviors have to change, and all that. The core is the neural agility. That is the core thing that I feel that got me out of the situation. And I believe that it's a good muscle to build in, like you do your physical exercises, you should do some of these mental exercises. So this whole concept of neural plasticity, neural agility, is the ability of nervous system and your brain to change with the experiences, with the situations as you grow further and further up. And your brain and your nervous system is very innately agile. When you were born as a small kid, you've got this big, huge network, and people have got different notion, and there's a lot of misconception about neural plasticity. You come with a lot of these networks. And as you grow older, these networks fade out. And so from, from your age of, from your, when you're born to the age of 25, you are actually, cutting down the network that was given to you when you were born. And as you move forward from 25 onwards, you have to really put some effort to, bring that agility back in the game. So when you are before 25, it is like where you see in this post office, people put that stamp on the envelopes. So every impression is like a stamp. It really stays with you. It sticks around, and it kind of makes your life different, and it changes you completely when you are at that age. And after that, it becomes a little, little dormant, a little subtle in that sense. And it's very important. You see, most of these Nobel prizes, and I did some research some time back, and I think 80% of them have been done by people before the age of 24. You can verify it, check it when you get time. However, going forward, I think so. This is the key of this, and you need to do some practice around this. And I generally follow a regime of 90 minutes. I always start working out, or I start, when I say working out, I'm saying I start working on my laptop with my team, and I like to keep these 19 minutes frame. And this is a very scientifically driven number. You always have to do like you do in your regular exercise. You always should warm up before you start, because you start with a slow focus, then you go into a deep focus, and then you kind of go really into the flow. And target 3 to 4 times doing it in a day. You target once in a week, you target twice, you kind of go slowly there. I think all of this boils down to one very core part, and that is how alert you are, how aware you are, and how are you attending to the environment in which you are. Your neural plasticity is a function of attention, and attention, I tell you, is one big area. Like you have done your programming and coding, and you've done your business management, and so many. I was so happy to see a bunch of certificates that Amog has got. So I think similarly, you need to have some sort of a certification in figuring out how well are you able to focus on something, how well are you able to concentrate, how well are you able to attain. So I think Kratak is an extremely important Indian practice that can help you in getting to different levels. And I generally avoid, if you see, I avoid blinking my eyes several times when I'm talking to people. I've been doing this over a period of time. So I think the core about this exercise is that you are able to, when you attend, I'll give you a very simple exercise if you want to do. Whenever you just focus on the screen right now, the moment you focus, your whole energy comes right in your forehead. You're trying to see the screen, you're focusing on that screen. And when you look at the horizon, you look at the sky, you are relaxed and you are looking at the sky. So these are very two different views, and you need to practice focusing. When you focus on something, there is a different kind of chemicals that come out of your body, and they actually help you in moving faster, and it helps you in getting closer to what you want to do. And it's a practice that one needs to do. So I'll give you a quick example. You are coding versus you watching Netflix. When you're watching Netflix, you're extremely hyper, you kind of excited, and it's all passive excitement that you are facing. And there is a lot of excess dopamine running in your head, and that's keeping you on. At the same time, when you are coding or reading a book, comprehending something, writing something, you are making an effort to kind of, to concentrate on this. So, as a child, like any animal you see, whenever they see anything moving, their attention goes on that. I mean, this is the core of any animal. When we see media, a small kid, when he sees a video or television, they completely get mesmerized with it. So, and this passively generates that kind of chemical. So your body doesn't generate that chemical in an exercise format. It doesn't makes a mechanism to generate. It's like, insulin shots of dopamine, dopamine. So I think that's what I'm trying to say. So I have this, I used to have this after coming out of COVID, I've made sure that I keep my phone switched off for at least 2 hours a day. I'm talking, they switch it off at night is fine, but I make sure that 2 to 3 hours my phone is switched off. And sometimes I feel that the smartphones are making us a little dumb. And my personal view, I'm not saying you need to not take important calls, but I'm saying that you are completely focused. Your attention is completely focused from one thing to other. You are looking at a screen. You are looking at what your wife is saying. You're looking at what your kid is saying. You're looking at your phone. You're talking to somebody. You're on the phone. Your attention is completely, whether it is auditory, whether it is visual, it's completely focused on something or the other. And it kind of generates the hormone, which is more of fight and flight, which is more like you kind of little restless, you're kind of little anxious. So it is important for you to practice dilated focus. Doing Tratak on a moon Tratak, yeah, Chandra Tratak, or you do Tratak on sunset, or just looking at the horizon while you are working, while you are walking. See, when we didn't have phone, I used to come out of a meeting. I used to see this. I used to walk out and go down and have a cup of tea or see the horizon, look at the long roads, especially in Mumbai, look at the skyscrapers. So that used to relax your mind. Suddenly now we are not able to take our eyes off these things. So it is important to practice some of these things. And, so I'm just doing a very quick, okay. So the other part of I think every business today has to practice, every individual today has to practice is resilience. This is the second important part. So first part is neural agility, second part is resilience, and third part in the core of it is personal agility. So resilience for me is this ability to bounce back and respond to change. Trust me, when I read this made so much sense. More than education, experience, training, and all sorts of things that you can get in your kid's life, in your friend's life. I think the core of everything is this resilience bit, because when how, like Muhammad Ali or Ben Johnson or all of these guys who've gone down and come up, all of these guys have something in common, which was resilience. Whether it is a boardroom, whether it is a hospital ward, whether you're fighting in a cancer ward, wherever you are, this is extremely critical part of it. To add to that point, I feel that there's a very nice saying in the Rig Veda, which says that prarabdha uttam jana na parijayanti. I mean, there's a larger slope here, but it kind of says that strong people, or people who are leaders who want to make a change, want to make a difference, they don't get stopped. They are unstoppable. So hindrances don't stop them. So any hindrances coming again and again, difficulties coming again and again, don't stop them. I'm sure each one of them, each one of you, and I'm sure myself and a lot of people like us do have one or the other ideas in our head that is that is dying to come out. That idea is bigger than the industry, bigger than the category in which we fit in. It can really disrupt the whole of the system in which we are. And and we are not able to bring that idea out of ourselves. We kind of get diluted because people tell us it's not going to work for you. People tell us that it's too big for you, Abhijit, you can't do it. Stop wasting time on this. Really focus on something which is more meaningful. You're not cut out for this kind of things. Now, this has happened with me several times in my life, and I've really seen it very up close with me. So one day, a friend of mine who kind of sat with me and said, you don't let anybody write your life on your behalf. So don't let you can't lead a scripted life. Nobody likes to lead a scripted life. I don't want anybody, nobody wants to do that. You have your own journey, and you have your own potential, and you have your own peak. And whatever we can do as a system to enable each other to bring that up, I think that's what counts. Other thing I feel is, we get too caught up in solving our personal problems. We get too caught up in solving business problems. The business problem is, Uber wants to be sustainable in the India market. And so they're not going to make their services affordable. And for example, the business problems are the problems which get created after you have solved, or once you have thought about the customer problem. But as product managers, as developers, as people in the industry, as what we are doing, we should really focus all our energy. I mean, for me, that means is all our energy should get focused on really building this kind of, you know, solving customer problems, solving real problems, and building a legacy of work that we do that our great grandsons should be proud of. You know, so it's so so for me, resilience means you know, the other part of resilience is the adversity or problems do not discriminate. They come to each one of us, right? All you can do is believe in yourself, believe in human endeavors. It was human endeavors that got, you know, Vasco da Gama to discover India, somebody to go from North Pole to South Pole, somebody made Google, Facebook, Uber, Tesla. All of this is a function of human endeavor. You know, we get too caught up in this whole victim mindset, and you let the situation control you, guide you, and play with you. I think it's time for you to be on the driver's seat and take charge of it. And I'm not saying this in a more motivational and a philosophical way. I'm saying this in a very concrete and a simple way, that have a lens that allows you to do that. Which of my actions are really a function of situation? Which of my actions are really a function of what I want to do? You know, have the guts to go back to your boss and say, it doesn't make sense to me. I would like to change it. This is the other way of doing it. Stick around to make sure that what you said, people are able to see it, and the idea that you had in mind is able to see the light of the day. So focus your attention very carefully, you know, and I feel I'm very passionate about the way I take failures. And I think what we have not taught right from age third till we are old enough to how to really lose a game gracefully, how to really celebrate failures, how to fail big and fail well, you know. I think for me, failure is a feedback lens. You, until unless you fail, you don't want to learn. And so it's extremely important for me. It's a very interesting concept that has been run in the US Army, US military. You can dig this a little deeper and check, hunt the good stuff. So every situation, there is a good stuff. You know, I was working late night, and, you know, I couldn't attend to my son's birthday party, and something happened, I bit on something. But the good thing was that you were around for something that was important for your purpose, for your vision, for the goals that you have promised to your company, and you stood for something. And that is what, you know, means finding something good in what adversity or whatever problem that you are facing. So I have a nice saying for this. दिल तो बच्चे की तरह अड़ा है, या तो चांद चाहिए या कुछ भी नहीं. So I think we have to be a little bit ziddi and a little bit like a kid to make things work for ourselves. So a very quick two things. Smooth seas do not make skillful sailors on personal agility. You need to navigate through the waves. And second part is, you know, sea for someone can be something which is very scary, and for someone it is an opportunity to surf, it is an opportunity to enjoy, it is an opportunity to go up and go down. You know, it is, they really look out which is the sea, which is the roughest, you know, in the world, where I can go and play. I think let's have an attitude like that. Very quickly, coming back to a framework that I designed and I thought might be relevant for you guys, just a idea. I think an extremely critical thing that Amog also mentioned is that have a very strong purpose in life. And if you have not found one, really work on it, find one. Being purposeful makes you, you know, Gandhiji is a good example, or anybody else, you know, Napoleon or anybody else, Mandela or anybody else, if you see. And I'm not trying to do any social work, even a simple thing that you do in your life. Having a purpose is extremely critical for you. And having a purpose, I'm going to, you know, take care of my family is a fairly good purpose. I'm going to be financially independent. I'm going to support a small folks within my community. It's a great purpose to be in. So I'm saying that find one. So, and connect all your tasks and see what you are doing is connecting with your main goal, your main purpose, and drill it down. Then you plug in this whole concept of neural agility. You know, along with that, you bring in resilience. Resilience, neural agility, and purposefulness, I feel, is what you need to do and really work on each one of them. And I'm telling you, there are different things I would love to do each session on each one of them, because I have got extremely great ideas on each one of them, but I'm leaving at that. And you need to see everything this divided by a feedback signal called failure. Understand, you letting other people win is the best way to win a game. Because I'll tell you an example. The more you understand problem scape, the better you are able to understand the landscape, the better you are able to give a solution. As a kid, a friend of mine, he had a Jewish mom, and what they used to do, they always used to teach him. His mother said, "You don't look at the solution, just write how many types of problems you have in mathematics, how many types of problems you have in history, and what kind of problems they are. Just write about the problems." They used to write long, and today he's a very different position. So I feel that failure is a very important part in your life, and you need to really have some sort of literacy around it. Okay. Going back on personal agility front, I think uh, you should, like I was talking to you guys, focus on the essential things that align to your purpose. This alignment is very important. When you have a purpose, you align that purpose, you align the three parts of your brain, you become an integrated individual, you become a holistic individual, and you are able to take decisions that are more global, that can impact not only you and your organization, maybe 80, 90, 100 countries in 100 different ways. So I think really having that integrated mindset is the core of everything that we want to do. And you need to have a growth mindset as well. That's a very core of it, because see, we didn't have to, from bonobos and from chimpanzees and really from few thousands years ago when we were monkeys to become human being. It's been a big journey, and the whole journey is driven by innovation and growth. When you have a growth mindset, innovation comes to you very naturally. You try and get innovation all the time, this brainstorming, it doesn't work. You have a growth mindset, you will start thinking about innovation. Recognize failure, because that's the next most important thing that you can look at. And stop taking approval from people around you. Don't want to go and ask everybody, is it making sense? Is this making sense? Is this making sense? I personally feel, my view, maybe people can have a different view around here, but I feel that taking approvals stops you from thinking original and stops you from staying in your own track. Be authentic and be yourself. And this is super critical for me. I mean, I just want to be what I am. Doesn't matter where I stand, doesn't matter who I'm talking to, doesn't matter why I am there. I want to be authentic and I want to be myself. And, focus on the mental rebuttals, embrace change. And I think while we are doing a lot of things, we should not, we should do things sincerely, not seriously. We should be a little easy on mind and do a lot of work. Keep on doing a lot of work, but don't put that pressure on your mind. I think this comes with practice. This comes with, alert menu. When you start practicing meditation, you start practicing, it comes with that. So I think that's a core of it. And I think having a check on what you are doing, is it really helping you or harming you? Having a log of your decisions and implications, keeping a small, when you take a decision, have a photograph and write a remark. Just give those, I just put those 5 ratings, star, 5 star, 2 star, 1 star. That's all I do. Whenever I like something, the task that I have done, I'm happy. I just take the photograph and put 5 star. If I don't like something, I put 1 star. I have to change somewhere, I just kind of highlight that. So I think simple log of these kind of pictures really helps in moving things forward. And learn to read problem situations and challenges well. So I think having said that, 1-2 lines on personal agility. जीवन की हर जंग वही जीत पाता है जिसको अपने आप से लड़ना आता है. So I think that's all I have in mind. So feel free, guys. Any questions, any thoughts, let us know.
Thank you, Abhijit. Thank you for the wonderful session. I loved your shairis. Yes, I agree that this is the COVID situation and it's the right time to implement personal agility. Thanks for the wonderful insights. I love the idea of switching off your phone for some time. I do practice that. And also the practice of Tratak, which improves the concentration. So I request the people who are viewing this to uh, implement the ideas. And I hope all the people you have enjoyed it. We have a few questions here. Let's have a quick look at the questions. Uh, First is from Rohit Iyer. How does peer support play a role in adapting the personal agility for transformation? I believe one situation is not the same with the others. What is the ideal strategy to get the best out of the insights?
I will take that question. It's a good question, Rohit. So actually, in every individual life, someone has to be a coach, right? In my case, whenever we are getting any, so as I told, in the every end of the day, I go and discuss whatever I did with my son. Okay. I told him, okay, today I have done XYZ thing. Then he asked me questions. Baba, have you spent enough time on this activity? He's asking me questions. So it is not mandatory. At least if I am managing my agility, I can ask my son as my coach. He's a 13-year kind of entering 14. So he's a quite, a teenager boy. He's asking very powerful questions to me sometimes. Baba, have you spent good time on this activity? Which are the activities you have spent? So when I show my list of activities and he asks me questions. So what has happened in asking that it has bonded my, earlier I will tell you frankly, I was not getting that much time to speak with my son. Because of this, I normally go and ask him also in the evening after going his whiteboard. I ask him questions. Why? So he's asking my questions. So I and my son can become also coach in, if I'm talking of personality. To answer Rohit's question, yes, that can be definitely be implemented within our team also. So assume I'm a playing of a scrum master and I want to discuss my thing with my product owner or my product manager. So I can schedule a cadence meeting with any of my superior, my boss, or I can, if I something related to my work, I can go and discuss with my superior, or I can go if something related to my functionality, I can go speak with my product owner. So I think on a case-to-case basis, answer to your question, we have to select who can able to be a right coach to answer your, not answer, we can go and discuss and get the fruitful conclusions, basically. If I answer your question correctly, Rohit. Any other question? Because I know
Thank you, Amok. That was a good explanation. I again thank Amok and Abhijit for the wonderful contribution to the session. I thank all the participants here and all the people who are attending here and all the host and co-host. In event of time, we will have to close this session. Thank you very much, but stay tuned. We'll have the next session starting soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Ajay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Abhijit, and thank you, Amog. It was an illuminating session.